right, so everybody, we have got for the first time today a guest. Can you believe it? Like, we're on the up and up. We got this rando off the street to just come into our house and start recording with us. We got him an extra microphone. Oh yeah. And there's 4 of us here today. So Sterling, why don't you introduce yourself to our audience? If
that is your real name. Yeah.
Well, I'm elusive. I'm a bit of an enigma, but thank you, Ben. I'm Sterling Silver J. I got a degree in Japanese and Japanese culture and language, and here I am presenting a little bit more on the Eastern side of things, you know, giving some perspective on different half of life that we might not be super used to, but...
Yeah, I'm not used to that life. I've never been to Japan. I've never
really.
I don't know too much about it.
Oh, well, awesome.
My exposure to Japan is limited to a few strange Pokemon facts that I think we've discussed here and there. We had this Pokemon episode come out recently. Yeah. But this kind of stuff that I think you're going to tell us about today, Sterling, is nowhere in my wheelhouse, and I'm excited to learn what it can.
It's funny you mentioned the Pokemon because I was watching that episode, and there's a lot of references to little Pokemon within this presentation. You'll see where maybe some of these inspirations came from. You know, like some light bulbs will be clicking. So yeah, I'll just be excited to see what we got here.
Yeah, but these are mainly for me, like the Japanese like folklore and stuff. It's always terrifying.
It is kind of terrifying,
it all looks really scary. Like we have like our normal like little bedsheet ghost or like Victorian ghost here. A Mothman.
We objectified Mothman.
Yeah. But those are like cute compared to the folklore of Japan.
Yeah,
like,
they have things that just drag you into the underworld. Right?
Oh, there's going to be some horror, but there's going to be some fun and mischief and, you know, a lot of stuff in between. But we're doing Japanese yokai today, talking about all these different spirits, you know, where they come from, things like that. And we'll just get right into it if you guys are ready.
How about it? Let's learn some yokai.
Awesome. Well, in order to talk about yokai, we got to talk about Shintoism and further specifically kami. So are you guys familiar with much in Shintoism?
Only just like that image you have in the top left of the Torii Gate. I know about those.
I've heard those words.
The Torii Gate. Yeah, the Torii Gate is like a spiritual kind of crossing from, you know, the mortal to the spiritual realm. But Shintoism is, it's very loosely defined. It doesn't have a lot of definitions. It's a bit esoteric, at least in its beginnings. But it's got a lot of natural and animistic kind of properties to it. So
very interesting.
As a base, they kind of believe that spirits reside in everything. So the way it started off early on was, you know, early farmers and nomads just being like, okay, we've got gods in the mountains, in the fields, the rivers, the plains, and you know, typical early human kind of thinking of, you know, attributing these natural phenomena to, you know, our gods and spirits. But what kind of it makes a distinction between Shintoism and some other things is their use of kami here. And kami, as we might know it, is like gods or spirits, but it's really like a cross between the two. Like it's not purely a sovereign god who all powerful, righteous, XYZ, and it's not necessarily just a spirit, this loosely floating embodiment of humanity. It's a bit of a cross. So, you know, they don't exist in the material world, but they are parallel to our world and you know, influence it, and depending on how we treat kami is how they'll treat us, and vice versa. So
interesting.
You know, you see a lot of these shrines with, you know, offerings. They're done up well, and it's to show appreciation and to appease these kami, and in turn they will do their role more efficiently. So, you know, got a lot of them. You got like Amaterasu, goddess of the sun. She's helping the days. She's making the days go by. She's bringing the sun there, and, you know, very appreciative. She's, you know, warming the crops, providing fertile lands. There's another kami, Inari, who stands for, I believe it's like rice bearer is kind of the name of it. So she's associated with being, you know, bountiful harvests and you know, prosperity and stuff like that. And so, you know, you've got a lot of gods like that, these big ones, but then you've got other little gods, like you've got, you know, maybe a kami of a microphone, something as small as that, like the table kami, right?
Yeah.
So you want to show your appreciation for all these things because, you know, this table has a little spirit in it.
It might be.
It's holding up.
Or it's the little Mothman.
That Mothman might have one in it.
Very much so, yeah. So it would have little spirits for everything. But specifically, yokai are kind of more of the ghost idea that we would hold.
Tricksters and ghosts and goblins.
Really
right?
much so, yeah. So, all these little things where they kind of come and they share the same characteristics and traits, but there's still a hierarchy to things. And, maybe the god of microphones isn't so well worshipped and doesn't probably have a shrine. So he's probably not going to be as powerful as Amaterasu, Adam's son up there.
Okay.
I love that kind of concept. I know in this podcast before, we've talked about a book called Small Gods by Terry Pratchett.
Yes.
The basic concept of that book, because we weren't here when we talked about it, was there's little gods everywhere. Some are just the size of your thumbnail. Yeah. And as soon as you start actually revering them, they start growing. So
it's exactly the right mindset to be in for this. Yeah.
One thing I just keep thinking about, little building thing, is Avatar: Last Airbender, the episode with the giant panda spirit with Spirit Force, and I didn't make the connection that when he flew into that, that's when they would be back into the mortal realm. So they always would cross through that.
Oh yeah,
So that was something.
I loved the way the spirit world was portrayed, like in the early Avatar, where it was just this thing nobody really understood.
It's
totally that vibe. This also sort of reminds me of Twin Peaks. This idea of these things that are sort of malevolent, or you don't understand them, or they have their own agenda from this other world, or just constantly interfering with these places. There's like spots in the world where you pass between reality and unreality, and
yeah, exactly.
I wonder if there was some influence. I've been watching a lot of Twin Peaks lately.
Well, I love all these light bulbs, and if there are any more, like just jump on in. Hey, that reminds me of blank. Oh, I think this is so and so.
We love connecting stuff.
Have you seen our show?
I know it. There will be light bulbs. I'm trying to encourage the light bulb.
Yeah, we connect stuff to everything on this podcast.
Emily all the time makes it about Mormonism, so we always have those light bulbs.
Maybe there's a Mormon distinction.
I know. I don't think.
Yeah.
We're going
but I
far
won't
west
right
to
now.
far east, so we'll see if they meet in the middle somewhere. But.
Somewhere in this collective human
we got
unconscious.
Mormonism and Star Wars. We got to make a connection.
It would be fun to do a comparison between East Asian religion and like Mesoamerican religion.
That's very true.
We could do a team up PowerPoint.
A lot of like animism and spirits and everything with that. Yeah. So you can see the similarities. Humans just being humans in the early days, stuff like that.
Yeah, because when I think of animism and spirits and all that stuff, like I think North America first. Like I think there's natives here where we're sitting right now that would have believed things like that.
Totally. And I wish it was more prevalent, in like our everyday lives and stuff. But
totally.
Yeah, let's jump into our first yokai here.
Yes.
So the first one, you guys may know this one. He's pretty popular. This is the Kappa. And you can maybe see from some of his features, very turtley, very frog-like kind of guy. Resides in rivers. He's also known as the Kawataro. He's got a few different names, kind of like a river boy sort of spirit. And originally, these guys were just kind of river spirits in their own right. They have a lot of different traits to them. You can see that they're, little gangly, humanistic things, but they take on these animal properties as well. They love to eat meat. They occasionally would eat people. But specifically, they really love cucumbers. Is an interesting, fun fact about them, right?
I love that.
Yeah, it's just like you leave a little cucumber out at the edge of the river for a kappa to come and eat it, and just kind of show your appreciation. And maybe he won't mess with you.
The bucket list idea when we go to Japan.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm getting a cucumber, and I am.
Exactly.
I'm just
have them in your pocket.
Yeah, see what happens to them. Leave them somewhere and see if they go away. Like, ooh, maybe one got it.
Well, you definitely want to get on their good side because these guys can be known to be just real playful, real, probably crossing the line of playful and maliciousness. They reside in rivers, and a lot of the stories that people would grow up hearing is that, hey, if you're going to play in the river, be careful. You might get dragged down underneath by a kappa.
God.
He's going to mess with you. But even then, they might find their way out on land and a lot of this mischievous trickster energy that we're going to see a lot in some of these preceding yokai. But they, their anatomy similar to humans, but they do have some strange features. One of which is their arms are technically connected inside their little shell body. So if one arm gets pulled, then the other one's going to shrink in and vice versa.
So it's just like a pool noodle. They have like a pool noodle pair of limbs.
Yeah, just a strange little
God.
tidbit of information about them. And they also have 3 anuses so that they can fart more prolifically because
Wow.
they do love to mess with people and pass gas and cause a bit of a stir.
I was going to ask, is each anus specialized, but I
No.
guess they're not. It's
I think it's just increased the production trifold,
yeah, because I was thinking like, there's birds and stuff that really just only have one hole, and then humans have more than that. So like we're more specialized than birds, so our kappa's more specialized than us, and I guess not. So
As far as my research is known, I think the 3 butthole is just for them to be able to fart and cause a stir among all the people.
interesting. All right, yeah.
Oh yeah, but yeah, in their early days, they were initially very mischievous, very dragging people down into the water, messing with things. But now they're just kind of more known as neutral river spirits. They kind of help the flow of the rivers. The fish and creatures that live in the river and just maintain it and stuff. So showing your appreciation is amazing. Another notable feature, they have a little indented kind of water dish on the top of their heads. You might be able to see. It might just look like a hat based off of the drawings and stuff, but this water dish is so important to them that if it were to ever get tipped over and lose its water, go dry, the cat would die.
Oh my god.
So it's very much just a little, you've got some interesting biology here. Very,
Like when Charmander's
I was
fire
just
goes
thinking
out.
that.
Exactly, there
the
it is.
Charmander tail, yeah.
Just like Charmander's fire.
It can't lose its wire.
No, yeah, he can't lose his water. So they were just got an elemental crossover.
So they must have very good balance. Like imagine the balance you would
yes.
have to keep
Oh
a
my
pool of
goodness.
water on top of your head from
Mhm.
like spilling over.
Oh yeah. Oh gosh, yeah.
Especially while you're like dragging people into rivers and stuff. So
Mhm. Yeah, no wonder they don't want to leave the rivers. They're gonna die.
yeah.
But they're very crass. They're, farting 3 times is normal. They're messing with people. And, it used to be when people would go drowning, that would be a kappa that drove them in and stuff like that. So these old stories definitely, came from more of the archaic understanding of things. And then, as we'll see later, as Buddhism came into play, Buddhism very neatly paired up with Shintoism. Like they just, the aspect of them, like their views on the world, they just fit together very well. And so Buddhism's kind of partnered along with Shintoism in Japan. And that's really where a lot of their culture kind of stems from, is like this blending of the two.
Interesting. I've
So
never
that-
heard that explained that way,
Yeah.
where you do kind of see both. And I always wondered like what the balance is. Are they different religions or are they just combined into this one thing?
Yeah,
I guess
they-
like both are true.
They
in
do.
this
They
way.
can kind of coexist with each other, just based off of the beliefs, based off of the spirits and everything. And that's too how you'll see a lot of these yokai turn from like, dangerous tricksters to more of like a spiritual guardian.
Mhm.
That being said, if you can maybe make out this bottom picture here, there's an aspect of kappa that's, as we can get even stranger, called the shirikodama. And what this was, it was believed to be like a little ball that existed in all humans that kind of contained our souls. And kappas were notorious for finding swimmers, unsuspecting fishermen, humans, and, going into the little pocket that we have down behind us, taking our shirikodama
God.
and stealing it and snatching it.
Oh,
So
God.
parents always warning their kids, check your anus because you don't want to get snatched. You don't want to get your shirikodama snatched by a kappa.
You just come home as this soulless husk.
Something like
I
that.
don't
Maybe
know how
the
it
water
works.
changes you.
That
Maybe.
Gosh.
makes me think like that's like a physical problem, but I can't figure out what the problem would be in the real world.
Right. Like where did that manifest from?
Yeah.
Yeah, it must have been something they thought like, well, you got your soul taken clearly by the way you're acting. I
Oh
don't
yeah,
know.
definitely.
Yeah.
You're acting
Depression,
more
who knows?
crass.
For
Yeah.
sure. But that's our friend the kappa, and you'll probably see a lot of kappas just in Japanese culture. It's a really popular yokai, and it's a turtley frog guy that just can be adapted. You can have a little chibi form, or you can have the classic scary anatomy breakdown that we have there.
I like
Yeah.
the big guy. I like that guy.
The
He's my
creature from the
favorite.
Black
I would want to keep him, but the other one, I'm like, oh.
Yeah, a little spooky.
Yeah.
Well, let's go into our next
Yes.
guy, the tanuki.
Yeah.
Tanuki.
Now,
I
I
know
think
that
we're all familiar
guy,
with
yeah.
Tanuki, right?
Yeah.
Played Mario games, Tanuki Mario, really prevalent. Now, this one's interesting because the Tanuki is a real animal. It actually exists.
Yeah.
It's the little raccoon-dog thing that people, it's based in Japan. They're found in mountains and forests. And these guys, just like Kappa, love mischief. They love messing with people. They love just, like, haha, playing jokes, pranking humans. And what makes them so good at this is that they're great shape changers. So they've got their tanuki form, but in addition to that, they can, change shape into like a human or, maybe something else to just mess with people and maybe sometimes integrate themselves into human life in society to none of our knowledge.
Wow.
Are those hats on them? Like they're little hats?
They're little, I think the little like the straw hats,
Yeah.
the
Is that part of their
horse wheel hats.
form, or is that?
I think it's kind of coincidental here. It's not necessarily
Okay.
part of their form. Something that is part of their form, you might notice, they are very well endowed.
Yeah.
Extremely so that I had to put a whole emoji over one
We
of them.
appreciate that.
Yeah, we don't have to
look.
look at that today, but if we ever wanted to in our own time, I'm sure.
If you,
I was thinking more YouTube, but
Yeah.
that's also, I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
that's fodder for the
Downtime later.
Patreon. I think. Yeah.
In the Patreon,
Patreon.
you can see the uncensored picture of this
Exactly.
tanuki one day.
And yeah, you
We'll show
see
you fan art of it.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
exactly. But they have definitely changed from this kind of trickstery idea to more of a mountain guardian, but specifically they're messengers between kami. You'll see a few of these other yokai. They are also act as little messengers between some of these larger kami and us humans,
Oh.
giving us little tidbits. And some are known to grow and be even very wise.
Interesting.
So you could have
Yeah,
a
wise.
shape-shifted tanuki, walking an old path and just full of wisdom and just says, hey, I love human society. I want to be in here with humans. And of course, they do love to emulate humans with their shape-shifting.
So someone could be a tanuki.
You never
You
know.
wouldn't know.
There could be a surprise tanuki and, if we just have to hope that he's wise enough and integrated enough with human society that he's not going to mess with us at all or anything.
Oh,
like
yeah.
that.
These seem to be mostly benevolent spirits in this kind of context. So I would hope.
I just
You're right.
imagine the bottom one just being drunk all the time. He's just
Yeah.
he's just so done with life, and he's just like, I've lived
Yeah.
so much. Now I'm just drinking. I'm just yelling
They
at it.
do love drinking. That is a specific tidbit of information. They love drinking, getting drunk. I think every one of them has a little gourd bottle.
They do. Wow,
full
yeah.
of sake. I'm assuming.
So they're making their own sake, probably like in moonshine
Oh, yeah.
still type things out in the woods.
totally, exactly.
Just kidding.
They're off just having a party.
That's
doing
their
their own
payment from
time.
the,
Yeah.
the messengers.
Exactly.
It's
Yeah.
alcohol.
I'll do it for sake.
And I, for fun, I wanted to add this little tidbit from where I found this is just a little children's song, but it goes, we can do it together here. Tan tan tanuki no kintama wa.
I just want to hear you say it. You have the actual.
I don't know how to pronounce.
Try.
Yeah.
Wait, I'll go. I'll give you guys a line.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
tan tan tanuki no kintama wa.
Tan tan tanuki no kintama wa.
Kaze mo nai no ni bura bura.
Kaze mo nai no ni bura bura.
Right, and that roughly translates to the tanuki's balls, even when there's no wind, sway and sway. They swing and swing, but I don't know exactly. But yeah.
There we go. Yeah.
Cut that out. Cut that out.
No.
Now the viewers need to know.
So yeah,
You said that's a children's song?
it
Yeah.
sure is. Yep.
Oh no.
They're very sexually open over there in Japan. More so than you would think. Very
yeah.
much
Fascinating.
bathing together as
I've
family.
seen
and,
I've seen like, don't they have like a whole like museum of like, I think penises?
I think they
it's
do.
like a whole,
Makes sense.
there's so many sculptures and stuff.
You didn't see that in Greece?
Oh no, I saw a lot of that in Greece.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I
That's
saw
interesting comparison
so
to
much.
make.
And
I
you can see
talk
the difference
about-
between well endowed and Grecian,
Yeah, well, I mean, in
Yeah,
Catalonia we had
petiteness.
Pan, so we talked a
Oh,
lot
yeah.
about
Yeah,
Pan
that's
and
true.
him
Yeah.
Very
hooking up
true.
with people. So yeah,
But yeah, very fun. They're fun little guys. I like a tanuki. Our next yokai here is Tsukumogami, and now this is a broader term. You know,
Okay.
we've got some specific ones listed. Obake are kind of, as we would see it, more of like a ghost or poltergeist. But Tsukumogami basically is objects that have, gained spiritual awareness almost, so in a way, like they're animal or animalism. And they come from all these different kinds of things. We got our first one, Kasa Obake. That is our umbrella guy down here, Karakasa Kozo. He's got, a single foot, being an umbrella, a creepy little tongue, and, just kind of walks around, takes form and exists as just a little dude.
Look, he looks like he has a little sandal on. Kind
He
of.
does.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He's still proper. He's
He's
still
just hopping around.
right. Our Chochin Obake, that is our split mouth lantern guy right down here. They exist after lanterns get old enough. Through one of their little ridges, partitions kind of splits open, and then big tongue might roll out, and eyes kind of take shape, and all of a sudden you've got this little guy who they're also mostly harmless, just kind of wanting to spook people passing by and stuff like that.
Spooky and silly.
Yeah,
It's just Halloween every night over there.
exactly. Yeah.
I love it.
Our bakezori, that is the sandals. Those are, if you can picture a zori sandal, it's got on the face, 1, 2, 3 for where the little straps are located, and on the backside they have those two kind of jutting out taps, and that kind of gives it its form of having 3 eyes, 2 teeth. And those are mostly they mostly come into play when maybe you've lost one of your shoes, or you've forgotten one, or just maybe mistreated it. And so one of them is he's just looking for his partner. He's looking for his pair Zori.
That's better than like when you lose a sock in a dryer, or you have to wash or dryer.
Well, now you know
I love
maybe
the
what
idea
might happen to it.
They micro feet and run off. But I like this version better.
Oh.
They look cute.
And I could imagine if the Japanese were losing their socks, I'm sure we'd have a sock kami or a sock yokai here looking for his lost pair.
It's just funny to me because they say like when you lose something, well, it didn't grow legs and run away.
Oh,
and
yes, it
perhaps
did.
sometimes it may have.
It
indeed.
certainly
So,
did. In ancient Japan, that's exactly what happened. It ties into this idea of like everything has a spirit, and treat your things with the respect that it would if you would be a person.
That's kind of what the Toy Story movies did to me as a kid.
Exactly. Like, you're gonna throw that away, or you're gonna try and fix it and give it care and show its appreciation.
Or the brave little toaster.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I always think about that. Oh.
They were yokai.
Well, also,
That's a
I
tough
think of it too.
watch.
Like we had a Pokemon episode. We talked about a few Pokemon that were toys and
Exactly.
stuff beforehand,
Exactly.
and then people threw them away or just mistreated them, and they come back as Pokemon.
They come
ready
for revenge.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's
Exactly,
exactly how that's exactly Shintoism. Just they're gonna give back what you put in it. We have another guy, Biwa Bokubo. This one is more of a Biwa is an old Japanese lute,
Oh yeah, I can see that now.
and this is one that has been more associated with wisdom, and so it grows old and wise. It becomes kind of like a traveling sage who plays his nice soothing music, and people might be on the road or in the forest, and they hear this magical biwa playing, and so he takes more of a form of like a wise sage who travels nomadic. But in general, it was kind of known that an object after 100 years of life would gain sentience in a way, or spiritualism. It would become animated.
Yeah.
So a lot of these items, it's when you care for them enough, they'll become spirits. They actually they feel that energy, and it comes, and this is the product. But it definitely plays into that idea of like minimalism, taking care of your items, and showing appreciation to things even that aren't human themselves, but putting humanistic traits and characteristics onto them.
That just makes me think like, today we live in such a wasteful world where you use something once and then throw it away.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That would be like the antithesis of that. It's
Totally.
like everything is built to last. Everything should be built to last 100 years. So one day it might be one of these things,
Oh yeah,
and treat it with respect. You never throw it away. Just build something and keep using it.
exactly. Yeah, and that's you see it in everyday life. It's exactly right. And it even goes to show in Japan, Japanese society. In Japan, they're very meticulous about trash and recycling. So, we just have 2 bins, if that, trash, recycle. They've got 5 different bins. They're like, we got burnable trash. We've got, landfill trash. We've got paper products, metal products, PET plastic bottles. So they go and, all the way until the end of some of these things. Like, well, if you're buying a bottle, you got to make sure it's getting to the right place.
Yeah, you know exactly where to sort it.
Right. So let's go to our next one. We're going to change the vibe here. The Yuki Onna. This stands for, in modern terms, it stands for Snow Woman. And this was a spirit of the mountains, but like snowy mountains, kind of Yuki Onna was the one kind of blowing the winds and causing, a lot of these bigger snowstorms to come through. And so travelers walking by would be weary of the Yuki Onna, being, I don't want to get caught into a windstorm, freeze to death, right? But they feed off of like the energy of mortals. So they're not going and hunting down people, but they are, just kind of like a product of nature, a force of nature. And they will find people in the mountain pass and, gusts of cold feed off of their energy. It's tough if you've, the cold. So
Yeah. I think we have
your strength.
I was just thinking we may have a new thing to add to our Dyatlov theories now that we know about this. If these things are on cold mountain passes and they feed on human energy, then potential
rogue and became dangerous. They haven't been getting enough human energy.
Went all the way into Siberia.
A big squad of food came and walking through. And, Russia's right there.
Russia is right there.
You see the top of Japan, Russia's boom, kissing it right there at the top. So
one could have made it all the way to the Ural Mountains. And,
totally. Yeah. I see that as being a possibility for sure. I don't know about you guys, but hopefully the seed's planted. But they're not entirely aggressive, so they're not like they're not hunting down people. It's more of like, this is just a product of my nature, like girls got to eat sort of thing.
We support it.
Yeah, an interesting kind of girl dinner, right?
Girl dinner, yeah,
right.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of little tales that I wanted to talk about. These are coming from Yokai.com, which is an invaluable resource for this little presentation here. If anything is interesting here for you, I encourage you to go and check it out. But I wanted to read two little excerpts just to kind of give an idea of the Yuki Onna, two different legends. This one comes from Yamagata Prefecture. It says, an elderly man operated an inn on a mountain trail with his wife. One snowy night, the inn was visited by a young lady traveling alone. She warmed herself by the fire and ate with the innkeeper and his wife. She was sweet, charming, and extremely beautiful. So it was even more of a surprise when, in the middle of the night, during a fierce blizzard, she stood up and made to leave the inn. The innkeeper begged her not to go outside and took her hand to hold her back. It was cold as ice. Merely touching it sucked all the warmth from the innkeeper's body. And as he tried to keep the girl in the home, her entire body turned into a fine icy mist, shot up the chimney and out into the night. So he encountered a Yuki Onna.
Wow.
And Yamagata is more northern too, so that they're getting a lot more of that snowy mountain area as well.
Prime habitat.
Right. This next story comes from Niigata, and the man there claimed that he had been married to a Yuki Onna. So his wife was beautiful, piercing eyes and skin as white as a marble statue. While he loved to take long hot baths every night, his wife always refused to bathe. And bathing is very big in Japanese culture. It's communal even. So it puzzled him greatly that she was apprehensive to this. One particularly cold and snowy night, he insisted that his wife take a bath. Otherwise, she would freeze to death in the cold, he said. She protested, but there was no reasoning with this guy. And so finally she acquiesced. When he went in later to check on her a few minutes afterwards, all he found in the tub were half-melted icicles.
Oh, no.
Whoa.
Yeah. So he didn't quite know, but until then, that was his confirmation. So the poor Yuki Onna, she can't stay warm, but that's just her nature. That's all she's.
I like the cold. Yeah.
You can be one. I think we talked about the exact Pokemon that was based off of this one.
Yes.
That's exactly right.
Froslass?
Froslass, yep.
This is what that reminds me of.
Froslass, exactly. Frost, when I was watching the episode, I was like, I'm going to leave a comment. Froslass, exactly. Directly inspired from the Yuki Onna.
Currently on my Pokemon team.
Boom, there you go.
There you go.
So we can see the connection. We can see the inspiration. Our next yokai is the Oni. This one is, we're probably familiar with Oni.
The masks.
They've got the mask, the horns, the big, teeth.
Yeah, like the blue spirit mask from The Last Airbender was definitely an Oni.
And big time an Oni. You'll see these guys translated to ogre sometimes as well, because they're not, they're all these kami spirits, these yokai, but, he's definitely giving more ogre vibes. They're large, they're very hostile. They will eat meat, they drink booze. They're kind of like in a really barbaric reflection of humans, right?
Okay.
So, they'll pick fights, they'll, beat humans up, they'll eat them. And they're found all over. They wander around. And they're very strong, high constitution. Not only that, but they're excellent sorcerers, like spiritual sorcerers. So they playing tricks, doing this kinds of things. The magic, I'm sure, is just adding to their strength and constitution. But generally, when you see like older forms of art, like kabuki and no theater, stuff like that, a lot of the times they'll have an oni as some sort of villain or antagonist, kind of, he's representing the bringing of some sort of destruction to the plot.
So it's almost like an archetype, almost like a
Yeah.
demon would be in the West, where it's like
Yes.
in Italian operas and stuff, you see that sort of Dante's Inferno type stuff. That's almost like the equivalent.
Exactly. Yeah. It's just kind of like, an easy way to paint the picture of like, ooh, that's, ugly, bad, horrific, beastly, right? Typical things. You can see how maybe early humans would be like, well, that's not us. That's that's the Onis there. Like they're in charge of all of that. But they are born naturally just through the spiritual world. But in addition to that, they can be born out of a human who's lived an evil life. His second life could be born as an Oni, and now he's taking on these traits of evil and maliciousness. They're always known as, the villains of the story. They do get a bad rap. I think they're cool. They look neat. They come in all different kind of shapes and sizes, different colors. Blue and red are the typical ones. But they are also known as the original spirits. So they're very old. They're ancient. Back in early times, maybe before the umbrella spirit, the kasobake, was around, the Oni was around. A very easy, just a mirror reflection of like the darker side of humanity.
Interesting. Do they predate humans? Is it like kind of
They very well could. Yeah, I think they probably did. They probably represent, that darker side of things, and that more terrifying and aggressive,
Chaotic.
yeah, the chaos.
Evil always exists.
Yeah, exactly. So
Always there.
So the Oni, by that logic, the Oni always exists. So exactly. Our next guy, the Kitsune.
I know that
Yep.
So the Kitsune is
So
basically
cute.
just a little fox spirit, a little fox yokai. They also come in different kind of forms, and they're found just everywhere across Japan. They are particular. They like fried tofu. Is a notable trait of theirs. So the Arkapas, they like cucumbers. The Kitsune, they like fried tofu. So if you leave out some fried tofu, trying to.
Two things to do when we're Japan.
Oh yeah.
You got to make sure both of them like you.
Just trying to appease the spirits, just trying to show appreciation. They used to exist as, wild, mischievous. They're also, I believe they're shapeshifters. Expert shapeshifters. So just like the Kappa, they used to be very, we're going to mess with you. Oh, that was a dang kitsune. But since the merging of Buddhism, they have taken on more of this wild protector kind of form. In addition to that, they're also known as like the Hermes of Shintoism. So they are messengers, just like our Tanuki, but they're more direct messengers. So maybe a kitsune fox is not this huge, wise looking, standing on 2 feet, but maybe he's on 4, going from God to kitsune to other spirits, just trying to deliver messages. In addition to that, they have a big sense of justice. So they believe in punishing the wicked. You'll see some of them will take on more humanistic characteristics. They'll stand up on 2 legs. They'll shapeshift into humans. And, older ones, as they get older and wiser, building wisdom, they'll be known as sages across Japan. And just like the Tanuki, they love to adapt to human life. So they could be anywhere.
Yeah.
They could
So
be
cute.
some smart guy that from who knows where. Could be a kitsune in disguise. Maybe he's centuries old and he's built his wisdom, and he can shapeshift into a perfect form. But they're associated with the god Inari, the kami Inari, I should say. Inari takes on a fox form, and they just they're good little helpers, just almost like little patrolmen, little militia guys, making sure that there's not too much evil affecting the material.
So here's another Last Airbender connection.
Yeah, I was
just
gonna
realized.
say.
Jump they had those
Jump
in the
in.
library.
Yes, and
Yeah.
Washington's.
He employed
library.
them, so they were
Yeah.
the messengers that were like bringing scrolls through the library.
There you go. You can see.
Knowledge.
Oh, you can see the manifestation right there.
I just want to say about Washington. I tried to name a Pokemon that
Oh,
in one of the Pokemon
I know
games,
where
and
this is
it
going.
wouldn't let me because S and HIT were
Yeah.
too close.
oh
The Sims
no.
does that too.
And I was
Yeah.
so sad. I was by knockout. I was gonna name it that.
Yeah, Kelsey,
That's
did you
a
know
shame.
that was actually given a name, like that phenomenon? It's called the Scunthorpe problem.
Interesting.
Google that sometime
Yeah.
because there's a town in the UK called Scunthorpe that is censored a lot of the time because it has the string CUNT in it. And they're like, no, that's just the name of our town,
Please.
but they can't determine that that's not a word within there. It's just the name of the
That
town,
was
so
very
it's
sad.
censored a
I
lot.
just wanted it after my favorite giant owl.
Yeah.
You know, whatever.
It's just not fair. They should know. They should know.
They should know.
Uh-huh.
Oh, so our next yokai here is going to be the Kuchisaki Onna. We're going into a little more horror here now,
Spooky.
right?
All right, so we've gone from the White Lodge into the Black Lodge here.
Yeah. So Kuchisaki Onna stands for split mouth woman. So they have
God.
mouths that are cut from
yeah.
their cheeks all the way up to their ears. So real, creepy Joker kind of thing. So they have these big gaping mouths. And they're found dark streets at night.
Mm-hmm.
They have an interesting story. So, they roam the streets. It could be, just a woman, could be a Kuchisaki Onna, but it's hard to tell. And you see here the beauty question. A lot of them, they will hold a fan over their face and they'll find an unsuspecting traveler and go, "Am I beautiful? Am I beautiful?" And it's a loaded question. If they say yes, they go like, "Oh, okay, haha." And they reveal themselves. They have this crazy mouth. And then as soon as the traveler turns away, they're going to attack and, have a nice meal. And then, of course, if they say no,
Well,
then
rude.
then things are going to end a little earlier.
There's no easy way out of that question.
Exactly. So it really is kind of, if you encounter a Kuchisaki Onna, all routes lead to death.
Yeah, I've heard supposed to say "Oh, I don't know," or asking supposed to make them a little confused so you can run off.
Exactly.
And I've also heard that they'll cut your mouth to look like them. That was the beauty thing. I've heard that.
Interesting. Yeah.
They'll show it to you, and then they're like, because you said they're beautiful, and I'm like, I'll do that to you too.
Yeah, don't you want to be beautiful too?
And that's what I've heard from that story.
That's exactly right. So you can see here, a good defense against Kuchisaki Onna is to carry a little bit of candy or something on you or a sweet treat. And then, like a dog or a child, just, hey, fast, go get it. And then you try and hightail it out of there before they can follow suit.
I mean, I would do that. If there's a candy that way, I'll go after it.
A lot of these creatures, you just need to have a specific item of food, and
Yeah.
then you're good.
Oh, yeah. Big time.
So, gotta carry a cucumber, dried tofu, and candy in our pockets
We're
at all
adding
times.
to the list.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the other thing that this just made me think of is I believe in Mortal Kombat, those games, there's a fighter, and I don't remember her name, but she's a masked woman. And when she takes the mask off, there is a mouth like that underneath it.
I
And
believe it's
kind of a famous-
Mileena.
Mileena, yeah, that's her name. And that's got to be the inspiration because it's the exact
surely.
same kind of thing where you'd think she's this beautiful woman until the teeth just come out of her face.
Yeah, I'm glad you said I didn't even think about that connection. So there you have it. Yeah.
Yeah.
This makes me think it's a warning against interacting with women of the night.
That does seem kind of like that.
Keep a pin in that idea. You'll see how this evolves into more of something we could maybe relate to in our modern times. But you're on the right track there.
Yeah.
Our next yokai here is the Tengu. These guys come in two different forms, but they're known as they're human-like, but with a lot of bird features. So Kenku is the first thing that comes to mind. D&D race. They've got these big wings, these big kind of creepy, scary-looking beaks, and they reside in mountains and cliffs, so they can fly about. And the two different kinds we have, the Ko Tengu and the Dai Tengu. There are definitely more little nitpicky subtypes, but these are basically the main idea of it. The Ko Tengu is this younger, aggressive, hates humans, very, very bird-like kind of this thing. So they'll go in, they'll attack people, hikers, travelers, and they feed off of human flesh. So, they're trying to get a little meal. But older Tengu will kind of grow into their wisdom, still not huge friends of humans. They're not hey, we're not like pals or anything, but those are the Dai Tengu. And these are the guys who you might have seen those masked with the long nose. Yeah. That's a Tengu mask.
Yeah.
So, and it's known the longer the nose, the wiser they are. Or the more powerful they are.
So the opposite of Pinocchio.
You say not Pinocchio.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, opposite of Pinocchio. So these Tengu with big, long, wide, long noses, they're the older ones. They're the ones who have gone from being real bird-like to taking on these human-like features and stuff like that. And it just shows that they gain wisdom. There's a notorious a swordsman, a very popular swordsman in Japan. I can't think of his name, but it was said that he was trained by a Dai Tengu.
Wow.
Yeah. So, they're very knowledgeable, very wise, and they will, they will have amicable terms with humans. Just it's more of a like, you respect me, I respect you sort of thing, versus the younger, more flippant counterpart. They're just, they're just going to be out for bites and scratches and whatnot.
So they kind of have an evolution. They can evolve from like the small, angry, petty thing to like the wiser, more humanoid thing.
Exactly. Yeah. And it just goes to show that idea of, age, time, filial piety kind of thing, where, the older you are, the more wisdom you gain, the more power you accumulate. You can see how it translates to Tengu and some of our other yokai as well.
Mm-hmm.
Is the nose phallic? Because the raccoons also were well endowed and very wise.
I'm sure to a degree, yes. There's a lot of, a lot of sex allegories in Shintoism and in Japan as a whole, Japanese culture. Whereas, we might think of, very like minimalistic and very like, prude and proper and covering up, very conservative, but it comes from a place of kind of, very like open sexually, really, like families bathe together, women and men, they have separate bathhouses, but it's still an openness to it. Like you go into an onsen and you get naked with all your friends and it's okay. And
there's no reservations about it.
Yeah, exactly. There's none of the shame aspect that maybe, more of our Western ideas kind of, grew up with that mentality. But over there, it's just more of like, this is who you are. And, there's no need to make a whole deal about it. But yeah, that's our friend, the Tengu. Our next yokai here, the Jorogumo. This is a popular one. This is one of my favorites too. The Jorogumo is a spider woman kind of yokai. And, the Joro spider is a real spider. Jorogumo is Joro spider in Japanese. And it's another real animal.
We see them all the time.
I know. They're here.
There's one on my back porch right now. And,
we have a real problem with them here in the U.S. all of a sudden.
Yeah, big time. But they're known for the spiders, at least. They're known for their bright, vibrant colors. They've got the yellows, a little bit of the red sticking out. They're also a bit bigger. They're large spiders, and they make these very big, immaculate webs. If you've encountered them, they'll find a spot, web it up, and just hang out in the center, like your classic spider kind of feel. These what's interesting about the Jorogumo, they feed on men. They feed on not just men, but men who are probably loose, looking for a nice, easy woman. And little do they know they're going to be encountering a Jorogumo. Their name, or the kanji that makes up their name, in modern times stands for Spider Bride, I believe. It's a nicer version on the ancient archaic kanji, which meant spider whore. So we're going from like, oh, okay, it's not this bad terrible terminology into like, oh, we'll make it look nice and modern and stuff like that. But that's really just based off of the kanji that they used. They have dual lives, so they exist as actual regular spiders, as well as this Jorogumo identity that they have. They will, similar to how our other yokai, after 100 years, they'll kind of gain sentience. These ones are 400 years old, so they have they've been around for a good while. It takes them time to really build up and gain that kind of level of prolific spiritual energy or what have you. But they take the form of these really sultry looking women, and it's said that their venom can gradually deplete the energy of a man throughout the day. So he's spending time with her, trying to woo her up, all this and that. And then they go back to her house, and he's never seen again. Who knows what's going on?
Yeah, so I'm definitely thinking siren, kind of a vampire deal.
Big time.
These kind of like alluring looking things that are really just out for your energy, your life blood.
It totally is that. But I do like to note that it's not that they're just, they're not just going off and this and that. They're looking for the the fuck boy kind of
Yeah.
mentality.
The ones
They're
worth punishing.
right. They're looking for the guys who are being a little too flippant
Yeah.
and loose with their intents here. So they're have their own sense of justice, but I can understand.
Yeah.
You can imagine a guy walking by a churro spider and being like, better behave.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, no.
Make sure everything looks good. But yeah, they're very skilled weavers as well. I believe there's a story, and I don't have exactly right, but they were gifted their ability to make webs from these higher level kami. So a lot of interesting stuff on the Jorogumo. I do love them. And this is going to be our last yokai of the day, the Yurei. And I saved the best, but this is our classic ghost.
Okay.
When we're thinking of ghost, that's a Yurei.
Like the ring.
The
Kinda
ring,
looks like the
exactly,
ring
like a
ghost.
dead person.
Yeah.
Like this is a person who died. This is something we can vibe with, we can gel with, right? And they are found in graveyards, homes. They could have died in a factory, and they're in that factory, or some sort of textile plant, and that's where they're inhibiting. They're haunting places. They're doing the things. When we say ghosts, that's what that is a Yurei.
Yeah.
And because of this, they come in all kinds of forms, all shapes and sizes. The white kimono that you see, that is based off of the Japanese burial or the funeral traditions they have, where you put in a nice white.
Is that still prevalent today?
It is.
Yeah.
It is. Their funeral services. You get a nice a white kimono. You do a little ceremony, and then they do crematory. So they'll turn the body into ashes, and then I'm not sure if you've heard when you're eating white rice, it is very rude to stick your chopsticks.
Oh yeah, we've talked
right
about that
into
at
the
your
rice.
house before, because we were eating the rice that one time. We were like, don't do that.
So that is like a symbol of a funeral practice.
Yeah, it looks like incense that you burn when someone dies. Isn't that it?
Yeah.
Like
It's that. It's also, I think, because you're giving offerings to the departed. So it's
you shouldn't offer people food with chopsticks.
Yeah,
exactly, and that's the carry
on.
on into. That's why when you're eating, at like a Japanese house communal, you've got your chopsticks, but you take from the middle and you put onto your plate. You don't go like, hey, pass me a thing of rice. You're not just going to take your chopstick, go, oh, here you go, pass it from one to the other, because that's what you do with the bones of the departed at a ceremony, at a funeral ceremony.
Ooh.
So as you have, the little urn with the ashes, they have a couple other bones left behind, and that's where the family, they go and they pass through each other into this final urn. So it's very much, keeping the respect, the sanctum of everything, and all that. I put long hair, T-Rex arms. They've got that classic look. The wispy, unkempt hair, the oh, creepy, I'm gonna get you kind of arms.
yeah.
And they are translucent, just like a classic ghost that we would think about.
I love that.
But they're known for, haunting places, cursing people. They have just unresolved conflict from our mortal world here. And they're in a kind of a form of purgatory where they can't quite pass over, but they can't also exist naturally in our mortal plane. So they just take all their frustration out on these passerbys or wherever else. But Yurei, very popular, very, if you've seen depictions of, they have that little headband with like the white triangle looking thing.
Oh yeah, I think I have seen that.
That is like a Yurei kind of, comes from their clothes and whatnot. But that's going to be the end of our little journey through the spirit realm. There's so many more yokai. 10 slides does not do it justice. In fact, I want to take out our phones for a minute. Let's each
find one.
Let's be 21st century
My
people.
phone's like around
Yeah. I think I had the realization in the middle of this presentation that I had heard before that the thwomp from the Mario games that falls down on you from the ceiling, that might have been based on one. So I'm going to find which one it was.
Very true.
I'm going to find that.
That might be difficult for here, but I would encourage, figuring that one out, trying to find the thing. So yokai.com, I got a lot of this information on there. They also have custom done art. A little art piece for each of the yokai. just go and find a random one. They have a random button. You can sort alphabetically, find one that looks interesting, and then kind of just share what we found here.
Okay, interesting. Here comes the two, the thwomp and the womp, which is the other thing that's like the big domino that falls on you in Mario 64. Those were both based on two different kinds of yokai. So the Nurikabe, this yokai is a shape-shifting wall that appears on roads, completely blocking the path of travelers. Some sources suggest the womp, which is a cousin of the thwomp, is more directly based on the Nurikabe, but the similarity of a block-like obstacle blocking the path also applies to the thwomp.
Oh, interesting.
And now, more for the thwomp, is the Surube Oroshi, which is an arboreal tree-dwelling yokai, drops from great heights to crush its victims.
Oh, okay. That's exact.
So that's it.
There
That's
you
the
go.
thwomp.
Okay. Yeah, very interesting.
You go.
Ooh, all right, what do you have, Kelsey? What do you find?
Is it Daki?
Daki, yeah, the Daki, I believe. Yeah.
So they like to haunt like the seaside cliffs kind of area.
yeah.
They're terrified women who like to haunt that area, and they like to feed upon human life. They mainly look for like fishermen who are like cooking fish and will go over and ask if they can have some, and no matter what the answer is, they're gonna like jump on them and suck out their lifeblood. They still say blood, it's lifeblood.
Lifeblood, exactly.
Mine is very similar. Also seaside, also preying on humans.
There's a lot of women, women preying on men kind of vibes with this one.
I was specifically looking for the fox wife because with the fox spirit, in my mind, I remember it was like a fox that turns into a beautiful woman to trick men into marrying them. Didn't find that. Found a clam wife instead.
Clam wife.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah. You want to read the Japanese name?
Oh, yeah. The Hamaguri Nyobo. Yeah, that's an interesting one. Nyobo. Hamaguri, Nyobo.
It's a clam?
So not
they're
Nobo,
clams,
Nyobo.
but they can transform into humans in order to marry human men, which is very similar to Inuit mythology as well. Like seals will turn into women to marry men.
Wow, which also makes me think of selkies, which are like a Gaelic thing. So that's crazy that same concept existed in like that side of the world.
I want to do like an animation or something like that. Like, that sounds cool.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, there's a ton of animal wife folklore all around the world.
Yeah.
And like they always leave the man. Like the man always messes up, or there's like a if they discover their true form, the wife will just vanish.
There you have it.
Yeah, so you got to be careful who you marry in these parts of the world.
But also, don't mess up.
No kidding.
You never know. If you didn't know your partner was one of these things, like that would be a bad way to find out.
Unfortunately, we've been suppressing women for centuries, so you can only see the evidence. It's clear.
Can't let Adam know that I'm.
Careful.
Let him know.
Careful, Adam.
Your true potential is yet to be unlocked, Kelsey.
Yeah.
You better not mess up.
Awesome. Well, that's what I have today. Thank you guys for kind of inviting me here. I was very excited to come on.
Our first guest.
Yeah, I'm honored to be
the
first guest here on the podcast. But I'd love to bring more Eastern influence and
Please make more.
I'm fascinated by this. This is like the original Pokemon. That's like my main takeaway from this. Like the belief in all these different yokai. That was the original Pokédex. If you just knew every one of them.
Yeah, exactly. It was like that and bug catching, just boom. And that's how we have Pokemon.
That must have been the inspiration.
Big time.
Yeah, it makes more sense. Where I was like, why did they make a Pokemon that's just a ring of keys? It makes sense now.
That's where you get that from.
Exactly. Or they have Garbodor, Trubbish. It's these bags of trash that just
came alive.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, there's a lot of ghost Pokemon that are just items that have come to life. So many.
They have like the living sword one.
Oh,
and I'm trying to think of others. There was that one with the mask that floated around with somebody's dead face.
There's candles. There's pumpkins. Like there's so many.
Oh yeah,
just living items that are cursed. But yeah, that's definitely. It's cool to hear this because that brings you like the original source of like other clearly stuff was based off of this.
We got to flesh out the lore so that we can understand like the modern interpretations of what we see. But hopefully bring some more bring some more Asian culture into play and talk about it. Do what you guys do best.
Yeah, and then we can relate it to everything we're going to relate it to.
It's perfect.
I would love to have enough knowledge of this that I could be like, okay, all the Star Wars stuff that is like clearly like the concept of the Force was based off that like Eastern Buddhist thing of like balance. And I would love to know more about that to draw that inspiration in.
Absolutely. Well, I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me, guys.
That was excellent.
A great little
you.
time.
Yes.
And hopefully you guys have learned something. If it interests you at all, visit yokai.com. It was a great resource. So I just wanted to shout them out as much as I could.
Comment your favorite one that you
Exactly.
find. Or just pick a random one.
Yeah.
Tell us
Hit the
about
random
it.
button. Go into the comments. Tell us all about it. We want to know.
Yeah, teach us about more of them if you encounter one that you think is cool.
Yeah.
And then maybe we can do another one of these for another set of yokai someday.
Oh, yeah. We got a whole list. Maybe we do a part 2, another 10, but we'll see.
Yeah.
All right.
That
Well,
was
excellent
amazing.
stuff.
Yeah.
Hope everybody enjoyed that. Take care, everybody.
Yeah, bye.
Arigato.
Thank you.
That was cute.